lecture on tuberculous salpingitis. To start with, the pelvic tuberculosis. In case of pelvic tuberculosis, almost always, about 90 to 100% cases, the fallopian tube is involved. That is, salpingitis is involved, and it is almost always bilateral. Now we will see the spread or the initiation of the pelvic tuberculosis. Most commonly, the initiation of the tuberculous salpingitis is hematogenous spread. And it initiates in fallopian tube, then transluminally. So this is fallopian tube, and hematogenously the first infection, that is first site of infection, is fallopian tube, and transluminally it spreads to ovaries or endometrium. Then in least common ways, there is lymphatic spread. Then another way of spread is lymphatic, from which the spread may be from bowel. Lymphatic spread from bowel TB, or another way is, very rare way, is direct extension. Direct extension from transperitoneal spread. As we saw that the first initial starting of pelvic TB is fallopian tube. It manifested. It may manifestate as endosalpingitis or exosalpingitis. In case of exosalpingitis, there are over the surface of fallopian tube there are tubercles, greyish yellow tubercles. In endosalpingitis, has transluminal spread to ovary and endometrium. Now in gross pathology, the fallopian tube, when it undergoes hydro or pyosalpinx as a progression, it appears as tobacco pouch appearance of fallopian tube. I have an image to show. Remember, when hydrosalpinx and pyosalpinx is the progression, it appears as tobacco pouch. Then fallopian tube is enlarged, that is increase in size, and greyish yellow tubercles are seen. Again, serosanguinous fluid may be seen. Or hematosalpinx may be seen. Then again, one of the progression of pelvic tuberculosis is Fitz-Hugh-Curtis syndrome. Fitz-Hugh-Curtis syndrome. So what happens in Fitz-Hugh-Curtis syndrome is there is adhesion between the right fallopian tube and liver. So this is liver and right fallopian tube. There is adhesion, which is Voilin string, which is called as Voilin string adhesion. Voilin string adhesion. So just for sake of remembering, just remember that in Fitz-Hugh-Curtis syndrome, there is Voilin string adhesion. So now proceeding further, In complications of tuberculous salpingitis, we have peritubal abscess, then peritonitis, in which we can get Duffy field of abdomen, then ascites, and in tuberculous ascites the specification is that adenosine is increased, and deaminase are increased. In the first of all, the tubercles, the fallopian tube is retort shaped, and after that, in long term, when period passes, it progresses as fibrosis, and the tube is occluded, and this is a very serious complication, because infertility due to this can be the chances of reverting this infertility are very, very less, even after surgical intervention. Then another complication is ectopic pregnancy, fifth one. Now moving on to differential diagnosis of tuberculous salpingitis. In DD of tuberculous salpingitis, we have foreign body granuloma, then sarcoidosis, then infection of enterobius vermicularis parasite, then Crohn's disease. Now we will see the rate of involvement of various organs in pelvic tuberculosis. So pelvic tuberculosis and the rate of involvement for fallopian tube, as we have seen earlier, it is 90 to 100% and bilateral. In endometrium, let us first write the organs: endometrium, ovaries, cervix, and vulva or vagina. So in endometrium it is 50 to 60%. In ovaries it is 20 to 30%. In cervix it is 5 to 15%, and vulva and vagina it is less than 1%. So now moving on to clinical features of tuberculous salpingitis. Clinical features of tuberculous salpingitis. The first one is infertility. Then menstrual irregularities, all kind of menstrual irregularities. Then chronic pelvic pain. Then in some cases vaginal discharge. Then abdominal mass. Change the pen. Abdominal mass. In case of peritonitis, we can see Duffy field, as we have seen earlier. In some cases, fistula formation. So now moving on to diagnosis part of tuberculous salpingitis. Diagnosis. In diagnosis, we have endometrial biopsy, and we can perform certain tests on this biopsy, the tissue which is the biopsy is taken, such as Zn staining or other. As we know that Mycobacterium tuberculosis, we do not do gram staining, we do Zn staining. and other tests may be performed on the tissue such as PCR and other, we will see it further. Endometrial biopsy, then hysterosalpingography. Hysterosalpingography. In hysterosalpingography of tuberculous salpingitis, the fallopian tube, the typical appearance of fallopian tube is lead pipe appearance. It has no peristalsis. The normal peristalsis movement is not seen. Lead pipe appearance. So just an image for remembrance. Lead pipe appearance, which is seen in hysterosalpingography of tuberculous salpingitis. Then in tuberculous salpingitis, we can also see calcification of fallopian tube. Calcification. Also, we have seen earlier that hydrosalpinx or pyosalpinx. Hydro or pyosalpinx. The appearance is tobacco pouch. Now, other diagnostic modalities we can use. Ultrasonography. Also, ultrasonography can be used as USG guided biopsy. USG guided biopsy. Then PCR, hysteroscopy, the endoscope inserted into the uterus. In hysteroscopy, the typical appearance of the osteofallopian tube, that is, this is uterus, these are fallopian tubes, the opening of fallopian tubes in the uterus, the osteas, the typical appearance of these osteas are golf hole appearance. And just an image. So remember, golf hole appearance of the osteas of fallopian tube, that is opening in the tuberculous salpingitis in the hysteroscopy. We can also perform laparoscopy or chest X-ray to find the primary lesion. The one thing which is to be noted is in tuberculous salpingitis, the marker CA125 can be elevated, and this is significant because CA125 is also elevated in ovarian cancers. So it is non-specifically elevated in tuberculous salpingitis or pelvic tuberculosis when ovary is involved. Then other tests such as NAAT, that is nucleic acid amplification test, then SAFA, that is soluble antigen fluorescence antibody test, then gas chromatography, and let us see treatment part of tuberculous salpingitis. So treatment. In medical treatment, we will start on anti-cox regimen or anti-TB regimen, and in surgical interventions, there is vulvectomy when localized vagina or vulva is involved. Vulvectomy. Then hysterectomy when extensive involvement is there. The one thing which is to be noted, that tuboplasty is contraindicated when the disease is due to direct spread, as it can reactivate the disease. The tuboplasty, when performed, it can reactivate disease. Again, when the complications of pyometra can be managed by drainage, but even this surgical management, the fertility, the prognosis of regaining the fertility is very poor. So thank you for watching this video.